This story starts from a boy standing in front of a massive building in the midst of a desert, flipping through the papers of his notebook. Two Zomgans come out from the building. They grin seeing a human child in front of their building. It is their lucky day. They come to him and ask if he came for the human they captured earlier. They call him brave and delicious. They are so happy because they are going to have a feast as they will eat two humans in a day, and that they are sure Mr. Craven will be delighted too. Hearing the name Craven, the small boy beheaded the two Zomgans in a flash with his bare hand. At the top floor of the building, the scenario starts from a gang of Zomgans celebrating because they are going to have a feast in a while as they've captured a human. Their food has finally arrived after starving for so long. The human is scared seeing countless human skulls lying around him. Suddenly, the small boy appears, holding something. The Zomgans are surprised to see a young human on the top floor despite having Zomgan guards at the entrance gate. The small boy then tosses two heads to them. The leader of the Zomgans shakes up. The boy asks them, showing a cute doodle of Craven, if he is here. The leader fumes up seeing such audacity. The boy innocently says that he's heard he will be here. The leader asks the boy if the captured human is his friend. He denies as he had never seen that human man before. The leader asks, being furious, then why he's unalived his guards. The boy replies that they were annoying him. This enrages the leader, but he remains collected and orders a Zomgan, Jeff, to get rid of the boy. Jeff asks the leader about the menu. The leader says it is hotel food, so cut the boy into chunks. Jeff rushes towards him and swings his huge butcher knife around the boy and cuts him into pieces. But to everyone's surprise, the boy regenerates, sticking the body pieces together quickly. He says that he cannot unlive him with that. Then he kicks Jeff off of the building, saying not to mess with him. The leader and the captured human both are taken aback by the boy's strange ability. The leader orders all of the Zomgans to catch the boy. He shouts that he cannot deceive them twice with his trickeries. He says how dare he come to the Zomgan territory and mess with his seasoned subordinates. He shouts, "Avenge for Jeff." The Zomgans are rushing towards the boy. The boy shoves his hand on the floor and bones pop up from the floor. The boy picks up a bone and hits a Zomgan's face. The whole head gets splattered away as a result. The leader is sweating seeing the boy this strong. The boy targets another Zomgan that is running towards him. He goes behind the Zomgan in a flash and splits him in half using the bone. He throws away the worn-out bone. He then shoves his hand inside his tummy and brings out a part of his intestine. He swings it around a Zomgan, smashing his head in the process. Then he smashes his entire body with it and the limbs splatter around. His intestine is worn out now, so he throws it away. The Zomgans around him are afraid of him now. He again shoves his hand inside his ribs, then throws his broken ribs at some Zomgans like knives. These go through their heads. He once again shoves his hand inside the chest to bring out the artery along with the heart and throws it at three other Zomgans. They go flying. The big open wound in his chest closes up in seconds. Then he gathers up some fluid-like substance in his fingertips which forms into a brain. The Zomgans shake seeing such a bizarre phenomenon. He uses the brain like a baseball, the bone like a baseball bat, and strikes at the Zomgans, causing their heads to explode. He makes more brain explosives and he unlives the remaining Zomgans like this, leaving the leader alone. The leader is terrified. He screams what the boy is doing, and what is he? The boy appeared in front of him in a flash that he did not even notice him move. The boy asks him if he is Craven. The leader is so terrified that he is sweating. He asks why the boy is looking for Craven. The boy says that someone told him a Zomgan like him will be able to unlive the boy. This statement enrages the leader. He shouts that who does he thinks he is to make fun of him. He adds that if he wants to be unlived that badly, he will unlive him in this instance. However, then the boy says, if he is not Craven, he forbids him to not get in his way, while bringing out some greenish liquid substance through his veins from his fingers, which tangles around the Zomgan leader tightly, crushing him into pieces. The captured man is in awe. He wonders how he can unlive all the Zomgans so easily like this. The boy then looks at the captured man. The man fears if he is going to unlive him too. The boy leans towards him and tears the tap off of his mouth. He sits down and asks him politely if he knows where Craven is. The man says that the guy he just unlived was Craven. The boy just says, "Is that so?" He thinks to himself that he flunked it again. When he is about to walk away, the man stops him. The blank yet intense stare of the boy startles the man. He says that it is nothing and thanks him for saving his life. Then the boy just walks away. The man stares at his lonely back, wondering something. The boy crosses off the cute doodle of Craven. Many years ago, due to the zombie virus, the world got destroyed. There are humans who managed to survive, but the majority of them turned into zombies. As their species evolved over time, they became monsters known as Zomgans, a fusion between zombie and human. This is called the Zomgan outbreak, and civilization fell into destruction. The boy, though he managed to live on as a human, after the fateful day, he has become immortal. After walking miles, he stands in front of his mom's grave. He says sorry that he did not manage to unlive today either. Left alone, the tied-up man in the building struggles to untie himself. Then a woman comes calling his name, who he refers to as leader. The leader and a guy named Dango are here to rescue the man. Dango asks Kyuho, the man, if he is okay and about what happened here. He asks further why he didn't respond to the radio. Kyuho apologizes for not responding. He says that he thought Craven wasn't here, so he went to explore more, but he was captured. The leader woman is taken aback by the atrocities there. She asks Mr. Kyuho about what happened to this place. He says that a student came here. The woman is surprised to think a young kid would come here and unlive all these Zomgans here all by himself. Kyuho says it is indeed hard to believe, but it's true. He says that for some reason he showed up all of a sudden and wiped everyone out. The leader asks if he knows where the boy is. Kyuho says that he doesn't know. He was about to ask him when he was leaving, but he couldn't ask him because he was scared. Dango asks why he was scared of a little boy. Was he a Zomgan? Kyuho says he was definitely a human. The leader looks around and notices sneakers prints on the floor. She asks Kyuho if the student was wearing sneakers. He says that he thinks he was indeed wearing sneakers. Then the leader seems to figure something out. The boy is sitting on his mother's grave. From afar, those three people have located him. The leader asks if that is the student. Kyuho confirms. Dango says that it is strange that he looks like an ordinary young student. He asks, being skeptical, if he really unlived all those Zomgans. But he wonders what he is doing over there for a while now. The leader suddenly goes for a strike with a knife to test the boy. The boy notices her and dodges the strike quickly. She says that it is amazing that he dodged, as she was really going to unlive him. Kyuho and Dango are flustered by her sudden move. She says that though he dodged, she was one step ahead, as she did land a strike in his neck, beheading him. The boy moves his arm to catch his head, which got separated from his body. The leader quickly notices it and shoots at the head countless times. She asks him what will he do now. Then the boy shoves his head in his cut neck and pulls out a head from it. The leader is surprised by this. She has confirmed now that he really can't be unlived. The boy is unfazed as ever. He tells her to stop bothering him and leave. Hearing that, she hits him in the chin with the back of her shotgun and kicks him in the stomach. She says, hearing that she is bothering him, makes her want to bother him even more. The boy goes flying, the leader moves quickly and goes behind the boy to shoot him from behind. The boy stops and lets out the greenish substance from his fingers to stop the bullets, slightly attacking the leader in the process. The leader is amazed that she has never seen anything like this before. The boy says he is serious about unliving her. She thanks him, taking it as a compliment. The boy says that he really means it. Then the leader notices the greenish substance is spiked up into sharp things, surrounding her back. She thinks to herself he has got her. The boy then says that he doesn't know why she is doing this, but he urges her to leave, and that he doesn't like unliving humans. But she suddenly swings her knife towards his neck but stops. She asks him how long it takes him to resurrect. She further says that the wound in his neck hasn't healed yet. The boy is in confusion as it has never happened to him before. He asks the leader what she has done to him. Then the leader introduces herself that she is the captain of the lethal force. Her name is Lee Kyung. She asks the boy if he would like to be part of the lethal force and that he is a valuable talent, addressing him as an immortal boy. Kyuho and Dango are embarrassed by the cringe nickname. Lee Kyung says that he won't be just joining them, he will be compensated for it too. She says she has heard from Kyuho that he wanted to unlive, so she tells him she will make that wish come true. The boy is flustered by the sudden offer. She tells him that they have a capable scientist who will know how to make it happen. The boy asks her how. She answers, who knows? Shouldn't he ask the scientist about that himself? She says, while pointing the knife at him, this knife was created by that scientist. Judging from his reaction, she says, she is certain that this is the first time something like this has happened to him. She tells him that it is a pretty tempting offer. The boy asks her if she really can make it happen. Lee Kyung asks about his name. He replies, it is Omairi. Then she tells him not to worry, and that he is going to mop up Zomgans with them. They will reclaim the lost lands, and the day when the human society is rebuilt, she assures him that she will unlive him. Until then, she hopes that they can get along. Mairi tells her to promise him. She says, of course. Mairi's eyes light up with hope that he is able to finally be unlive one day. He agrees to join the lethal force on this condition. Lee Kyung, in the walkie-talkie with Garam, asks when she is coming to get them. She says she will be right there with her sloppy driving. Kyuho wonders if Garam has a driving license. She is here to get them. She manages to stop the car somehow. She apologizes thinking she came late. Lee Kyung says no and thanks her for her hard work. She tells Mairi to come along. Garam asks about Mairi. Lee Kyung says he is a new recruit and he will be working under Garam. Garam is excited and happy that she is finally getting a junior. She excitedly forwards her hand to greet formally, but Mairi ignores her. Garam positively assumes that he is just shy. Inside the car, Lee Kyung tells Mairi that he will be sent to the Jinhee expedition, and Jinhee is occupied with Red Dan. Mairi doesn't seem to know what that is. Lee Kyung says that it looks like Mairi was away from the world for quite some time. That's why he doesn't know about the Red Dan. Red Dan is one of the few groups that conquered many cities, and Lethal Force's primary goal is to eliminate Red Dan. To do that, they need to locate their boss. Dongo says that that's why they were going to investigate Craven's territory. Kyuho says that Craven was also a member of Red Dan. Mairi responds to them being unimpressed. They realize he is not interested in them, lol. Lee Kyung further explains that in Jinhee, there is a paladin of Red Dan. The paladin must know about the boss's location, if he is an executive. So she wants Mairi to work with Miss Garam on the trail of the boss. She tells everyone to be careful. Craven was just leading a group, but a paladin leads a city. Lee Kyung says that it would be best if they all went there together, but they have to research other places too. They have arrived in Jinhee, which is Chongwon. Lee Kyung says it is better to walk from here, as it is a brutal place. She tells Mairi that Miss Garam will fill him in on the details. Garam says awkwardly that he can trust her. Lee Kyung wishes them luck and leaves with others. This is Garam's first mission. She is nervous, but she thinks to herself that, as a senior, she must set an example for her junior. She tells Mairi to follow her. They have arrived there safely now, and now they are entering the city. Garam is very nervous that she takes a moment sitting behind a car, as it is a city of different species. She opens a guidebook. It is not an ordinary city. It's a city where animal-type Zomgans also exist. Garam is concerned that they don't know when and from where they will appear, so they need to be on alert. From afar, Lee Kyung is checking on them through binoculars. Kyuho shows concern to Lee Kyung if they are okay, and it would be better to go with them. She denies and says it won't be too dangerous because Mairi is there. Above all, Lee Kyung still wants to check something. Kyuho asks what she wants to check. She says that she wants to check if Mairi will follow her orders or not. She is sure that he is a coveted person, but she doesn't know what he is up to. She says that she wants to check whether she can trust him, so she wants to watch him a little longer. In the city, Garam tells Mairi to come and hide quickly. He asks her why. She's flustered that Mairi isn't understanding the situation. She tells him, being flustered, that Zomgans might appear at any time, so they need to hide first. At that moment, animal-type Zomgans are walking by. Garam quickly hides behind a car. While talking about Craven's death, they come across Mairi, who was just standing in the middle of the road. It is now a dangerous situation as there are many animal-like Zomgans in front of Myri. Leekyung is concerned and nervous seeing the situation, and she forgot to tell Myri to not get caught as hiding is the natural thing to do in such a situation, but she forgot to mention it to Myri. The tiger-like Zomgan asks who he is and what he is doing here. Garam is panicking seeing Myri openly standing in front of them. Then Myri asks Garam if all he needs to do is unalive them. Not even giving her a time to respond, he goes striking at them first. He makes a huge brain explosive using his greenish substance and throws it at the Zomgans from above. It creates tremor around the area, causing cars, stones, and stuff around to float. Garam is surprised by his ability. She thinks to herself that he has transcendent ability. She thought he was an ordinary person, but she was so wrong about him. She thinks he is way beyond just being powerful. The brain explosive wipes out the Zomgan in the front. Other animal-like Zomgans are flustered seeing that. They question if he really is a human. Myri swings his greenish substance and cuts them in half. Then he throws another brain explosive. He is causing a massive destruction in the city. The three people from far away see all the destruction in awe. Hyuho asks Leekyung what is happening there. Leekyung says that it is incredible, and she didn't expect that it would turn out like this. The other animal-like Zomgans, who were inside the building and were nearby, come to check what is going on. They see Zomgans are running towards their direction, telling them to run away. The unaware Zomgans ask what he means. Myri catches up to them. He shoves his hand in the ground and brings out boulders from the ground, which attack the Zomgans. Another group of animal-like Zomgan comes towards Garam's direction. She is concerned that if they come in her direction, she has to fight too, as it is difficult for her to handle such situations. She brings out a boxing book that activates her ability. Her ability, Thunder Collapse, lets her copy any book she reads. She copies boxing techniques in the book and defeats the Zomgans in a flash. Myri takes down each of the Zomgans in his way using his superhuman strength and returns back to Garam's location. Garam scolds Myri if he is planning to destroy the whole city. He is attracting all the Zomgans like this. Ignoring her, Myri walks towards a Zomgan which is shivering and crying in fear. He asks about the Zomgan, what's wrong with him and why he can't speak. Garam says that is because he is a lower-class Zomgan. It reminds him of his mother who couldn't evolve into a Zomgan. Pitting him, Myri tells the petrified Zomgan to go away. The Zomgan runs away. Confused, Garam asks Myri why he let him go. However, before getting a chance to answer, another batch of Zomgans appear. Garam is tired from fighting. She urges them to stop appearing. Sun has set down. They have defeated all the Zomgans that have appeared so far. Myri asks which of the unalived Zomgans is the paladin. Pentang, Garam says she thinks the paladin is probably unalived, but for real though, she thinks to herself that the paladin should come out by now, and if this isn't enough to provoke him, she still considers the possibility of paladin being dead among the Zomgans, as they've unalived without any discrimination. She is too tired to care now, and says that they need to hide for now. Myri asks her why they need to hide. To this she asks what if more Zomgans appear again. Then Myri says that they will just unalive them again, and he confirms that there is no paladin among them. Garam tells him that they are here to investigate, and they did not come here to unalive them all. Myri argues that they can unlive them and investigate at the same time. Garam is frustrated. She tells him, being angry, that he might be powerful and fight all day, but she cannot. Myri isn't scared of unliving as he is too strong, but Garam says she is not powerful like him, so she can be unlived if things go wrong. Not understanding her point, Myri further asks her what is wrong with unliving, and that it doesn't matter whether they unlive or not. All they need to do is complete the mission. Garam feels speechless by his response with zero empathy. Garam is taken aback. She asks if he is being serious about not caring whether he lives or unlives. He says yes, that he doesn't care. Being mad, Garam tells him that the reason they are doing this is to save lives. No matter how important a mission is, it is never more important than someone's life. She is trying to clarify that he should not act recklessly. Myri comes close to her. Being annoyed, he says that he is not being reckless. At that moment, a strong Zomgan appears. Garam realizes, seeing the blades clung all over his body and the lion mask on the back, that this Zamgan is the paladin. Garam has no energy to fight, so she is scared. There are more strong Zamgans standing behind the paladin. She doubts about winning if they fight now against a paladin and a group of Zamgans. The paladin was away to his unlived brother Craven. Then a Zamgan from the earlier chapter, Jeff, recognizes Mier. He informs the paladin about the boy standing in front of him, that he is the one who has unalived Craven. The paladin is doubtful as the boy is tiny. He says that after unliving Craven, he unlived all of his comrades. It enrages the paladin. He mentions a rumor among humans about an ability that is called transcendence, which he didn't believe to be true until now. He says that he doesn't care why Myri unlived them, but he has touched his family, so he needs to unlive. Seeing the situation from a distance, Lee Kyung says that this is not what she expected and that they need to go there. She orders the two to come with her. Myri proceeds to fight, but Garam stops him, saying, "That is a Red Dance executive." She tells him to not think of doing anything reckless and to run with her. No matter how powerful he is, he could unlive. To this, Myri tells her that he hopes to unlive. The paladin rushes towards him, shouting, he will cut Myri into pieces and eat him. Myri moves in a flash and goes behind him, unaliving all the Zamgans there except the paladin. The paladin shouts how dare he unalive his family in front of him. He moves around Myri with his sharp blades to cut him into pieces. Myri thinks of what Garam told him, that no matter how powerful he is, he could unlive. Then he gets cut into pieces. The paladin lets his guard down, thinking he unalived Myri, but, to his surprise, Myri strikes at him. The paladin feels Myri's intimidating power when he says that he had expected it. He did not unlive. The paladin gets overwhelmed. He steps back, he is shaking in fear. He doesn't understand why he felt such fear. Myri is walking towards him. Garam doesn't understand what is happening in front of her. The paladin moves around him in circles. He shouts that he is just a human, he can't match his speed. His fast movements create a tornado surrounding Myri. He says he will regret touching his family, he will not let him go. Creating the tornado, the paladin runs, believing he cannot win against Myri. He feels the need to call the boss and the other executives, but Myri comes out of the tornado and strikes him from behind. But the family word he mentioned lingers into him. He remembers that he also used to have a family. He remembers beautiful memories with his mom, who turned into a zombie later. And he unalived her with his own hand because he was scared seeing his mom like that. But he realized after unaliving her that the monster-like creature was his mom. He has unalived his one and only family. With his greenish substance that he brings out from his hand, he explodes the paladin in the mid-air. Before unliving, the paladin says, while crying, that the other executives won't stand still. Myri tells him to not blame him for all of this. He further says that he is doing this for his family too. Lee Kyung, Kyuho and Dongo rush to the scene. Lee Kyung is troubled seeing Myri. She shouts that the mission is over. She tells Myri that the order was to investigate Jinhee, but he started unliving everyone. She says there's no point in investigating or anything like that. Then she orders others to hurry up and return to the unit. Lee Kyung thinks to herself that she felt the sense of incongruity from him before, but he had other intentions. Unaliving enemies is okay, but one shouldn't be that cruel. A human should show humanity for the sake of the future, but she cannot see the humanity in Myri. His actions were so cruel that even Zamgans looked pitiful. Lee Kyung is concerned that she did more than just a little by recruiting a monster. Lee Kyung tells them not to let their guard down, as some Zamgans might appear. A while later, two high-ranking Zamgans appear. One of the Zamgans says there is a lot of blood, but no human blood is there. Another Zamgan is annoyed that even the humans have gotten stronger now. The calm Zamgan suggests calling other executives, as the humans might not have gone too far. The annoyed Zamgan denies, and he threatens him to do what he says, if he doesn't want to be unlived, that they should find the humans and unlive them themselves. The calm Zamgan, as unfazed as he is, agrees along with him. Inside a cave, lighting fire in the middle, Lee Kyung's team decided to take a break while replenishing their energy, then continue moving. Lee Kyung feels the situation is not good. She thinks they should go ahead with the mission. She worries that they have almost destroyed half of the Jinhee, so she doesn't know what the Zomgans will do next. And above all, Myri is their strongest source of power, who is uncontrollable. She feels that they are in trouble. Then Lee Kyung tells Myri that she tried to test him, whether she can trust him or not, and that she was watching him from the beginning. She told him to only investigate the Jinhee, but he destroyed half of the city. She adds that because of him, Miss Garam had to fight an unwanted fight. She could have been seriously injured. Though Lee Kyung is glad that they've won. However, if that wasn't the case, everyone here would have been unlived. So Lee Kyung has concluded that she cannot trust Myri. Myri then says that she told him she wanted to wipe out the Red Dan, so he did what he was told to. She doesn't deny the fact that she said that, but she also told him to investigate the city and not to destroy it. She clarifies that she wants to rebuild a human society, so if she fights like Myri, all humans will die. She tells him to assume a new city is built on the foundation of human society, so the actions like Myri's will be fatal for the society. She tells him while pointing her knife towards him that she brought him here because she needed him, and he will follow her orders because he needs her help. Otherwise, his reckless actions will put them in danger. Lee Kyung then tells him that if he wants to unlive, then to do what she says. Other three are looking at them in troubled expressions. Without arguing, Myri agrees to follow her. Lee Kyung thinks to herself that this should be okay now. However, the biggest problem is he destroyed the city and unlived an executive, which is basically declaring war. She is sure that the other executives will be on the way. The two strong Zomgans running towards the cave where the humans are in. The calm Zomgan says that he can smell the humans from the cave. The annoyed Zomgan rushes in the front of the cave and shouts that they will pay for what they did. But there is no human inside but the lit-up fire. He sighs, saying they tricked them. The calm Zomgan says if they have erased the traces of blood with the smell of food, if that is so, it won't be easy to track them then. He says that these humans are clever. The annoyed Zomgan calmly says he tried to handle it his way, but now they need to contact the other executives as the situation has changed. He finds these humans disgusting. Lee Kyung and her team in the car, heading to Busan. Lee Kyung asks Myri if he has ever been to Busan. It used to be a peaceful city, but now everything has changed. Now humans there live as slaves or else they die. Myri seems not interested in it. The five of them head inside an abandoned underground sewage. That is the only way to the headquarters. Inside it looks quite decent. Inside, Commander Cheon Nuri seems to be mad at Lee Kyung, as the security is tight throughout the entire city, and she went out to investigate something. She asks Lee Kyung, being angry, what she has done outside. Flustered Lee Kyung says she wants to talk about that later, cause she has some work to do now. Cheon Nuri looks at her, being skeptical. Lee Kyung tells Myri to come in front of her. Lee Kyung and Mier are standing face to face. Cheon Nuri asks Kyuho about the new boy, Myri. Lee Kyung tells Myri that they will confront all the executives in the future, even though she does not know how many executives there are, nor how powerful they are. But Lee Kyung knows one thing is that the paladin Myri has fought was the weakest of all the paladins. After telling him these, Lee Kyung tells Myri to attack her, without going easy on her. She is serious about it. Myri asks her if this is an order. To this, Lee Kyung says yes. Kyuho wonders if Captain Lee Kyung wants to confirm something. He realizes that Lee Kyung will test Myri using her ability now, whether she can win or not, as the last time they fought, Lee Kyung did not use her ability on Myri. Myri is strong and he will be involved in every operation in future. Now Lee Kyung needs the surety that Myri really can beat the executives for sure. The fighting has started. Kyoho is worried as Myri is the strongest among them. He had the rare ability called Transcendent. Those with this ability are more powerful or have equal power to an executive. Kyuho thinks to himself that Myri is the only Transcend in their unit, with Garam and him. But the Captain Lee Kyung is the strongest of all, because Captain Lee Kyung knows various martial arts techniques, and she has superhuman abilities. And most of all, she has the ability of absolute sight. She can estimate her opponent's movements using this. This gives her an absolute option to attack or move. Myri rushes towards her in high speed, but she dodges that. As she can now see his movements well, she punches Myri from below in his chin, then lands another punch in his stomach using her superhuman ability. Mairi goes flying but still manages to land on his feet. Kyuho feels that to beat Captain Likyung, one must become the most powerful of all human beings. Likyung decides to fight very seriously now. Mairi throws his finger bones like bullets towards Likyung. She activates her absolute sight. Total of 9 bones, the average speed is about 70 kilometers. It is nothing to Likyung. She catches every bones. The bones in her hand smithers away. Suddenly Mairi dashes at her to kick. She leans back to dodge. Mairi goes for another attack, throwing countless punches. Likyung feels the difference with their last fight. She usually uses absolute sight to avoid bullets, but Mairi's attacks are more dangerous than bullets. As she's dodging his punches, he snaps off Likyung's hair tie with a punch and cuts a bit of her cheek, by which was heading to her face. He is a lot better than she expected. She grins, orders him to stop. She says that she surrenders. Mairi obeys her order with no question. Garam is taken aback that the Captain Likyung could not counter Mairi's attacks. They feel that it is amazing to watch these two fight. Mairi is really strong. A new hope has arisen. Maybe now they can win against the executives. There is a possibility that a new world may rise in faith. Likyung smiles and tells others to get ready. They are flustered about what she is talking about. Mairi thinks about how he could not hit her a single time. Likyung goes to talk to Nuri Chion. Nuri then asks her what Likyung is going to do now before letting her speak. Nuri talks about how the security has tightened. Is it because of Mairi? She says that whenever Likyung finds a nice person, she always recruits them to the squad. Nuri thinks that they have destroyed a city. Seeing how Nuri hit the bullseye, she calls her smart. Likyung then says that things have gotten a lot better than she thought. First of all, they need to go to Oryukto, a human slavery city. She says that there will be a big fight soon, so they need a lot of weapons. Junyong is a scientist who went on an expedition there. Likyung is going to Oryukto to pick her up right now. They need her to make weapons in larger quantities. Showing urgency, Likyung tells Nuri that they need her right now. The knife, which was able to wound Mairi, was made by Jun. Likyung tells Nuri that she has brought Mairi here with the promise to unlive him. Nuri is taken aback by this and asks if Mairi wants to be unlive. Likyung says yes, but she doesn't know the reason why. Being amazed, Nuri asks again if Mairi is immortal then. Likyung says he is immortal and she was surprised as well. She then continues, even though the knife can wound Mairi, it won't unlive him. It only slows down his healing. To control Mairi, who is their core power, Jun needs to come back ASAP. Showing a thumbs up, Nuri agrees that they need to go to Oryukto for one reason or another. Nuri gets down to business, makes a strategic plan to go to Oryukto safely and achieve their objectives. Operation Oryukto briefing begins. First, to bring back Jun, and the second, to recruit strong people. The Lethal Forces members are only 6 people. For future fights, it is an absurdly small number. Though there are some people who have been dispatched. Considering their unit is small, they will use this operation to bring back Jun and recruit some people to make their unit bigger. Now Nuri will get down to details of the operation. Likyung smiles to see Nuri has thought a lot ahead, and no one can beat her in planning and strategizing. Kyuho then asks about the zombies in the harbor, as they need to steal the ship. What to do about them? Nuri then says that they know better what to do with them, indicating something. At the Busan port, Mairi's on the mission. Likyung in earpiece. She orders him to be as quiet as possible since there will be a lot of Zomgans nearby. Their plan is to disperse and find a usable boat. She tells the members to be careful. In the meantime, Busan L City, Red Dan, the special meeting of the 7 executives has been completed. 6th Paladin Rishuru, who was in charge of finding the humans who caused the death of the 7th Paladin. He reports that the city of Jinhee has been destroyed by humans, resulting in the unlived of the 7th Paladin. He says they also followed the humans but could not locate them. Being skeptical, the 4th Paladin Natefi asks if it was really caused by humans. To this, the 5th Paladin Yuryir, who was also in charge of finding the humans with Rishuru, answers that they must have been humans since they smelled like them. The 3rd Paladin Arlo says if they were able to unlive a paladin, it must mean that they are transcendent. Carefree second paladin Spetter says the Transcendents are also human, so there is no reason to worry here. The first paladin Turate asks Rishuru if he has any more details. Rishuru doesn't have any. Turate then says that they have blocked all the city exits and increased security in every area under their control. As they do not have any solid information yet, he orders them to not act too hastily. He orders Rishuru, if he locates the humans this time, to not let them go this time. He tells him that he can only tolerate Rishuru's incompetence once or twice. Being annoyed, Rishuru says that it won't happen again. He is tired of these. Yer asks Rishuru where he is going first. Rishuru says he will go look around his area first. At Busan Port, Likyung tells Myri that there are also humans working around. She tells him to not hurt them by mistake. Myri sneaks behind two Zomgans. He plans to deal with them quietly. Unaware Zomgans get their heads cut off. Myri goes in another direction. Dango and Garam are hiding behind port containers from Zomgans that are coming towards them. They ask each other if they have found anything. Both say no. Then suddenly Myri comes and beheads the Zomgans. Having their path cleared, Dango and Garam go to look for it in different direction. Kyoho is nervous to move as he doesn't know where he is now. He is trying to look for his members. Then suddenly he hears a woman screaming. Inside a container, two Zomgans are planning to eat a human worker. Having a missing human worker is no big deal. They get fresh human meat every month, but that is for only paladins. They are not allowed to eat human workers, but their ration got reduced, so they resorted to eating their human workers. The Zomgan tells the human to blame their system for her misfortune, not to them, while moving towards her. Being terrified, she shouts to not come near her. Suddenly her son comes forward and shouts to not touch his mother. A Zomgan grabs the boy by his hair, saying they are not allowed to eat children either, as they need to grow up to multiply. They throw the boy out of the container. He's crying and screaming to leave his mother alone. Seeing that, Kyuho rushes in there and interrupts them. The small boy clings to him, pleading for his mom's life. Kyoho doesn't know what to do now. He rushed in here on a whim, but he is not good at fighting. A Zomgan comes to him asking what he will do now. A single human isn't enough to unlive them. Kyuho then throws a powerless punch at him, thinking nothing. The Zomgan grabs his face and is about to attack. Then suddenly the Zomgan's head gets shattered. Kyuho falls to the ground. Another zombie is flabbergasted, grabbing the woman's head. Myri is preparing another brain explosive and throws it at the other Zomgan. Both of Zomgans are unlived. The boy hugs his mother and cries, the mother and son together crying. Myri is looking at them, not responding to Kyuho's thank you. Myri's expression seems gloomy. Kyuho notices it. They thank Kyuho earnestly. Being flustered, Kyuho tells them they should get going now. Kyuho notices Myri walking away. Kyuho worries and wonders why Myri always has that gloomy expression. On walkie-talkie, Likyung informs the members that she has found a boat. Dango is surprised that Likyung managed to find a boat all on her own, as they got too distracted wandering around. Then Zomgan shouts, finding the dead bodies there. Hearing that, the lethal force leaves quickly. In the boat, Kyuho comes to Myri to talk to him. Kyuho tells him that he is also a transcendent and his ability is narcotics, which lets him manipulate and change people's emotions. He activates it on Myri to show him an example, then asks if he is feeling any better. Unchanged, Myri asks what? Kyuho is surprised that it did not work on Myri. Did Myri's severe depression undermine Kyuho's power? Kyuho tears up, thinking how depressed Myri can be. Kyuho then tells him if he is having a hard time in life, he can always talk to Kyuho about it. After all, Kyuho is a doctor. To this, Myri says okay and thanks him. Getting a thank you from Myri makes Kyuho very happy. Dango then asks Kyuho if he is not afraid of Myri. He says Myri doesn't appear to feel any emotions to him and that something doesn't seem right with him. Dango also wonders why he wants to be unlived. Kyuho tells him, from his perspective, he thinks Myri's expression seems like he is terribly unhappy, and he wants to be unlived because he doesn't have any reason to live any longer. Dango didn't expect it to be this deep. Garam, driving the boat, tells Likyung that a big ship is approaching them. Inside the ship, Zomgans reports from the port that they found dead bodies, requesting a search party to nearby areas. Rishuru asks about what's going on. The Zamgan Feder says there is a suspicious fishing boat ahead. He will search it immediately. Feder says the report from the port did not mention about the boat, and asks him if they should proceed with the search. Rishuru permits them to do as they please. He is feeling lazy, so he is not going there. Feder orders the fishing boat ahead to stop. Garam's worried about what to do now. Likyung thinks if they should fight or not. Oryukdo Island is just ahead. She worries what if Jinhee City catches wind of them again. Then Dango comes in being all tensed up, holding human worker uniforms in his hand which he grabbed from the port, says that's a Zamgan ship, and if he should inform Mairi. Likyung notices the uniforms and immediately orders them to wear those uniforms. Wearing those humans' worker clothes, Dango and Garam standing in front of Feder, being super terrified. Feder asks if they are transporting humans to Oryukdo Island. They both loudly say yes, though they don't get why they are the one to put on this difficult task. Feder says that it is strange, they don't have any delivery scheduled for today. Dango loudly says that they are the additional staff. Feder then says this kind of thing happens from time to time, but why are they the ones doing it? He further says this type of work is usually done by zombies, why are humans doing it? From behind, Kyuho freaks out, whispering to Likyung that maybe they are busted. Likyung reassures Kyuho that she did not let them handle this for nothing. Dango is nervous and freaking out about what to say now. He tries to calm down. He has already rehearsed this to deal with this kind of situation. Before the Zamgan's outbreak, Dango's dream was to become an actor. He then calmly spouts a random name with no nervous expression, that Kim Kyeolsu has sent them, hoping at least one Zamgan in the port to be Kim Kyeolsu, as Zamgans used to be humans anyway. Now even Captain Likyung is also sweating. Feder leans closer to Dango, asks if Kim Kyeolsu has really sent them over. Dango is very terrified, thinking if there is really no Kim Kyeolsu. Then Feder asks if Kim Kyeolsu's still working there. He then laughs and says that his work ethic is a mess. It's too much trouble for him to just make a report. Dango then earnestly thanks Kim Kyeolsu Zamgan that exists. Mairi wonders why not just unlive him and leave. Then Rishuru appears and asks why it is taking so long, if there's something wrong. Feder reports the situation to Rishuru. Likyung finds the Zamgan Rishuru rather different. Feder then introduces them to Rishuru, addressing him as Chief Rishuru. He is the talent in charge of Oryukdo Island. Rishuru notices Mairi. He leans towards him and asks if they have met before. He says maybe he is imagining things. Then Rishuru leaves, ordering Feder to wrap things up here. Likyung tells Mairi to remember that Rishuru Zamgan, as they have to fight him sooner or later. At the human slavery breeding farm, Feder tells the guards at the entrance to assign these humans rooms. Likyung then orders Dango to find several more boats. In the meantime, when the Captain Likyung looks for June, Garam and Dango will look for more boats. Likyung will go to room number 25. Kyuho and Mairi will go to room number 7. Human slave breeding farm, like the name suggests, this place breeds human slaves. Some of them solely for human labor, some are bred for expert skills, and some are raised for entertainment and pleasure. These selected humans are sold in different cities for each category. However, those humans who do not manage to become slaves are classified as white meat. They are sent to the slaughterhouses. If a human wishes to be a slave, they must prove that they are more outstanding than the other humans. This is a barbaric place, a battle for survival. Likyung feels that they need to be more cautious of humans here than the Zamgans. She tells Mairi that unless she gives a different order, he needs to keep an eye on Kyuho. They have arrived at room number 7. The guard tells them to go inside. Likyung heads to room number 25. She wonders where Jun might be. Inside the 5-number room, a tattoo bald guy asks them who they are. He tells them to get out. Kyuho tells them that they are here to save everyone. He notices that the tattoo bald guy is grabbing a woman's hair. Kyuho shouts what he is doing to her. He looks at other cell members, but they all look away. The atmosphere in the room is very weird. The guy throws the woman away and comes towards Kyuho. He then punches Kyuho, causing him to nosebleed. He grabs Kyuho's hair and tells him that from now onwards, they are his puppet. The things they are in charge of will be passed on to him. He forbids them to tell people about what they are good at. Confused, Kyuho asks what the heck he is talking about when they came here to save them all. The guy raises his hand to slap him. Mairi blocks the slap with his foot. Mairi asks Kyuho if he should unlive this baldy guy. Being angry, the baldy guy shouts at Mairi. Nervous, Kyuho tells Mairi that he must not unlive any human. Being annoyed, the baldy guy punches Mairi in the face. The baldy guy is flustered as Mairi's face is as hard as a rock. The guy's hand hurts. Mairi raises his hand to attack. Kyuho tells Mairi while panicking to only hit him as a forehead flick. Mairi listens, but to everyone's surprise, his forehead flick is also fatal. The baldy guy flies backwards, hits the wall of the room, causing a loud noise. Kyuho panics, thinking if Zomgans will come now to check on them because of it. A Zomgan guard comes in. Kyuho is even more panicking that they haven't even started to look for June, nor has come up with a plan to save everyone. They must not get into fights with Zomgans already. The guard goes to the baldy guy, asking if it is him again. The guard then grabs his shirt and shouts at him. The baldy guy tries to tell him that it wasn't him, but the guard drags him out of the room, saying he has to teach him a special lesson. It looks like these kinds of things happen here often. It's good they were able to survive somehow. The other roommates look at them in awe. Kyuho is about to explain the situation and about Mairi, but then the elderly roommate requests him while trying to get him out of here, getting down on his knees. The elderly man says that it's been too long since he had been put to work. If it goes on like this, he will be sent to the slaughterhouse. He urges Kyuho to save him. The woman in the room says to the elderly man why he is kneeling down in front of a child. Kyuho figures out that they are thinking about who will be the new dictator now, as there is someone stronger in the room right now. Kyuho feels bad, thinking that this is how they've been living all this time. They would rather be mean and selfish than becoming a lump of flesh. Kyuho reassures them that they won't unlive here. As he said before, they have come here to save everyone. At the room 25, the room's leader or something goes to explain the rules to Lee Kyung. She says that he can take all of her work and to take more if he needs. She says she will be resting now. She expected such rules here. The guy becomes very happy that he won't be going to the slaughterhouse anymore. She needs to look for June, then come up with an escape plan. The speaker in the room orders them to work, to get to their respective workstations and report to their superiors. Lee Kyung finds the voice familiar. Should she be concerned? Out of all works, Kyuho gets physical labor, which he is not good at, though he's worried if he would have time to look for June. He is also worried about Mairi's assigned work. What if it is something that bugs him? Mairi's work is sewing clothes, but he accidentally hurts his hand badly in the sewing machine. The guy in charge of sewing tells him to sit and watch, and to not touch anything. Haeong, the young girl in the room, comes to Mier with cute band-aids. She puts the band-aids on his hand. He tells her that he doesn't really need them. She says his wound will swell if he leaves them open. Then she asks about his name while blushing. Mairi tells his name is Mairi. She then thanks him for retaining peace in their room. That bald man took most of their work. They were scared that they would be sent to the slaughterhouse. Miss Jizian comes looking for Haeong. Haeong introduces Miss Jizian to Mairi. She says enthusiastically that Miss Jizian is a very kind person, the only person who takes care of her and stands up to the bald guy. Haeong is very grateful to Mairi, and in a notepad, she tells him that he is really handsome. Being shy and all, she runs away. Miss Jizian then sits next to Mairi, asks him if it was a little unexpected, the environment in their room. She says the other rooms do not get along well, since they are in a very competitive environment. Even though they had a dictator in their room, it was still better than the others, and thanks to Mairi, it has gotten even better. Miss Jizian is grateful to Mairi in many ways. She looks at Mairi kindly. He sees his mother in Miss Jizian. It bothers him. He gets up, not responding to Miss Jizian. Seeing him leave, she wonders if she said something wrong. Lee Kyung is looking for June everywhere but cannot find her. Field, workshop, training room, she has looked for her almost everywhere all day. She is troubled if she has missed any other places. It would be a worst-case scenario if June has left this place already. At that moment, the speaker in the room tells the humans to work again. Lee Kyung thinks of the voice she finds familiar. She figures out this voice is June's voice. She is in the broadcast station. Lee Kyung asks her roommate where the radio broadcasts are done. He says probably at the warden's office. Then she asks if there are any jobs available in the warden's office. He says cleaning job is available, but that's his work. Then the guy asks her when she is going to give him her name tag. He says he can only do her portion of work if he has her name tag. Then Lee Kyung punches the guy apologizing, knocks him out and takes his name tag. The guards there aren't wary of humans at all. Lee Kyung gets inside the warden's office, and she finds her instantly. Seeing Lee Kyung, June tears up and hugs her. Lee Kyung asks her what happened to her all this time. June says that she was captured while exploring. She did all kinds of work to survive. Then she somehow became a warden. Lee Kyung wonders how good she was at her job. Lee Kyung tells her not to worry, as they will get her out of here soon. June says while crying that there is no way to escape this place. At Myri's room, Miss Jizian suggests writing each other's wishes, while they get to know each other, instead of just sitting and spacing out. Haeong is excited. Miss Jizian says as that baldy guy is not here anymore, they should get to know each other. Kyuho wonders if it's alright to be this harmonious. He thinks of taking this chance to talk to Myri, as he wasn't able to talk much with Myri. Kyuho excitedly says he wants to join in too, and so is Myri. The 5 people in the room sit in a circle. Myri asks Kyuho what they are supposed to write. Kyuho says to write what's in his mind, writing down wishes and with a simple example. Myri asks if this is an order. Kyuho smilingly says that it is a small order from him. Then Myri writes down something. After finishing writing, they all say what they've written in the note. The elderly man says he wants to see his grandchildren. He never got to see them after the world changed. The elderly man wants to see his grandchildren at least once before he unlives. He starts sobbing, saying he hopes they are still alive, and that their incompetent grandpa cannot even visit them. Miss Jizian says it is okay, they understand. Now Miss Jizian's turn. She says she wants to cook. She hopes that she can have a gathering of good people and have a delicious meal together with them. Hearing that, Kyuho sobs, thinking these people are angels, and he has to do everything he can to help them escape. It is Haeun's turn now. She says she wants to get close to a person, while saying that her eyes meet with Myri's, and she cannot finish her sentence, blushing so much. It is Kyuho's turn now. He says he cannot think of any right now, so he will go after Myri. Myri has written a lot in his wish note. He says he wants to unlive, and that he is doing this for his mom. He reminisces about his childhood memories with his mom. He unlived his mom on a cold winter day. In the past, Myri used to be a very polite and happy kid. His mom used to love teasing him. On the day of the incident, his mom was coughing, and strangely, so were people around him. He felt something was wrong that day. He was sending his mom on her way to work as usual. For some reason, he felt like he would never get to see her again. So he went to work with her. His mom was very lively and jolly. She said she felt motivated that Myri was there at work. It made him happy. But he was so tired. The occasional customers and surrounding noises lulled him to sleep. He was so exhausted, but the quiet time with his mom was nice. He hoped that moment could last forever like this, always be together. His mom suddenly felt extreme pain in her chest, and she fell. Myri panics seeing his mom's condition. She reassures her son, saying she will feel better once she gets some rest at home. As she's feeling sick, she decides to close the shop and head home. Myri is very worried about his mom. At home, she is cooking while humming songs. Myri is still concerned if she is really okay, though he feels relieved that she is doing better. At dinner time, his mom says she got him a present. She gives him a new uniform. Myri is very excited to see his new uniform that he wants to try it on right away. The uniform looks a bit big on him. He is so happy because of that uniform, he gets to bed wearing it. He says his mom gave it to him as a present, so he wants to wear this to sleep. Around midnight, an emergency broadcast. It says a human disaster is currently occurring within the South Korea region. Do not leave the house and refrain from meeting with outsiders. Then it says to evacuate to a safe location immediately. Myri wakes up from his sleep. His mom is not beside him. He sees his mom is coughing in the kitchen. Seeing blood all the way to the kitchen, Myri rushes to her side. He sees a monster turn to him. It attacks him, bites his neck. Myri is screaming. Myri is crying, calling his mom. His voice weakens, then he passes out. 2 minutes later, he gets up screaming. He was surely attacked by a monster and was unliving. He thinks it must have been a nightmare. Surely his mom wouldn't turn into a monster. His mom must be sleeping beside him. He turns to right and sees his mom like monster is coming to bite again. It surely is not